Alright guys, we're going to be reviewing adding fractions with uncommon denominators. We have done this already in the past, but this is just a review because I've had a few people that are not 100% sure when it comes to adding fractions when you have uncommon denominators. It's easy doing it with common denominators because all you got to do is go ahead and add just the numerators together and you're good to go. But with uncommon denominators, there's been a little bit of confusion. So I'm going to go ahead and try to explain it a little bit more detailed, try to get it in a little more thoroughly. So it's pretty simple 4-step process. The first thing you want to do, say I have a problem like this. 6 over 8 plus 3 over 5. So say I have something like that. The first step is I want to multiply the denominators together. Whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. So pretty straightforward, multiply the denominators together. So I have 8 times 5 is 40 plus, so you're going to do 8 times 5 is 40, and then 5 times 8 is 40. And remember guys, if we're multiplying the bottom, we want to go ahead and do the same to the top. So 6 times 5 is 30. 3 times 5, I'm sorry, that should have been an 8. There you go. 3 times 8 is 24. And then whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top, which we're already completed. Now on step 2, it says add the numerators. So let's go ahead and add the numerators. 30 plus 24 is 54. So I'm going to go ahead and write 54 because 30 plus 24 is 54. The denominator stay the same. So the denominator is going to stay the same as 40. That does not change. So now I have 54 over 40. Next, step 3, simplify. So if I can simplify it, then that's what I want to do. So I have 54 over 40. If both the top and bottom are even, more than likely, I can divide by 2. Basically, you gotta ask yourself a question. First, you have to ask yourself if 2 can go into 40 and 54 evenly. Sometimes you'll have the situation where they can only go into one number but not the other. You have to make sure that both 2 can go into 40 and 54 evenly. If that is not the case, then you got to try a different number, like 3. You got to find out if 3 can go into 40 or 54 evenly. If that doesn't work, then you got to try 5. You got to find out if 5 can go into 40 and 54 evenly. If it does, you want to go ahead and divide it. So here we can already see that 2 can go into 54 and 40 evenly. So once I divide them together, I get 20 on the bottom and 27 on top. So 54 divided by 2 is 27. 40 divided by 2 is 20. Now I have to ask myself, can this be reduced any more? Well, I can't reduce it by 2 because 2 goes into 20 but does not go into 27. 3 does not go into 20 but could potentially go into 27. However, in order for this to work, it has to go into both 20 and 27 evenly. All right, so I cannot reduce this anymore. Now, step 4 says convert to proper fraction if necessary. And yes, if the bigger number is on top, then it's considered an improper fraction. So what I would have to do in order to convert this into a proper fraction, I would have to divide 20 into 27. First thing I want to ask myself is, does 20 go into 2? It does not. Does 20 go into 27? Yes, 20 goes into 27 one time. 20 times 1 is 20. Subtract 7 minus 0 is 7. 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay? Now, I need to convert this fraction into a mixed number. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go ahead and bring out my denominator, which is going to stay the same. So my denominator over here is 20. That does not change. My denominator continues to be 20. I will go ahead and grab my remainder. My remainder will now be my numerator, and the answer to my division problem will now be my whole number. So the answer to this problem is 1 and 7 over 20. Let's go ahead and do one more. I'm going to try to put these two papers side by side, hopefully. That way you can still see the rules or the instructions. Alright, so first instruction is first in step 1. Say I have a problem like this, which is 1 over 3 plus 2 over 4. If I have a problem like this, first step, multiply the denominators together. So let's go ahead and multiply the denominators together. I'm going to multiply the 3 by 4, and I'm going to multiply the 4 by 3, and then I'm going to, whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top, as stated in step 1. So if I'm multiplying the bottom by 4, I must multiply the top by 4. If I'm multiplying the bottom by 3 over here, I must multiply the top by 3 as well. Alright. Step 2, it says add the numerator. So I'm going to go ahead and add the numerators, which is the top number. So I have, oh, forgot to multiply them first, so go ahead and do that before I continue. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 times 3 is 6, 4 times 3 is 12. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the numerators together. 10. Okay, and then my next step is the numerators stay the same. So the denominator stays the same. So my answer for that is 10 over 12, but I'm not done. Now if I look at step 3, it says simplify. So I'm looking at 10 over 12. First I want to see, does 2 go into 10 and 12 evenly? It does. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both the top and bottom by 2, which will give me 5 over 6. Now the next step states convert to proper fraction if, it says right here, if necessary. 5 is smaller than 6, so actually it's already a proper fraction. So at this point, I'm done. So this is actually my answer.